Hi everyone, JT here. And like I said in the last video, I'm going to pivot slightly away from the journey to learn and find my online business and come back to my 9 to 5 job. Because if you're on a similar journey to leave the rat race or to break the golden handcuffs, then I think you need to hear this as it may change your life. It changed mine. Um, As you can imagine, if you saw one of my prior videos where I asked for a promotion and not only was denied, was humiliated, I, I was not pleased with my job, to put it lightly, which unfortunately for my immediate family was not isolated to just my hours on the job, but bled over into family and personal time. I dreaded waking up and commuting to work and then being at work and then commuting home. Uh, I was wishing the entire time I could spend that time doing something else. And I kept complaining in my head about how frustrating everything was. And I was dramatic. I admit that. But it was one evening I was laying around with my son, who was probably about 2 at the time. Um, he looked at me, and out of the blue, he asked, "Daddy, you happy?" Uh, and the answer was no. I obviously, unfortunately, lied to him and said, "Of course." But man, that was quite the wake up call that my my 2-year-old son could see that I wasn't happy. And how could that be? How could I be miserable even around my son, my pride and joy? He's named after me. I love him so much and I love being around him. But I couldn't escape the head trash. And man, that was a wake the hell up moment, if you know what I mean. So some of my mentors and the influencers that I'd been following probably were saying this the entire time, but I was just tone deaf and wouldn't hear it. I now was willing to hear it, and I needed to hear it. And that was something kind of simple. I had a choice. We all have a choice. Sometimes we can't choose what happens to us, but we can all choose how we react and the stories we tell ourselves in our head. I needed to change that story and I needed to change it really fast. So I need to replace the current story of, oh, why do I have to go to work? My commute sucks. I'm not paid enough. I'm overworked. Bah. And I need to change those. And so I immediately started to change them, and it was not easy. I said, all right, I get to go to work and I get to interact and learn from some fabulous and smart people. Instead of my commute sucks, it was I have alone time in my car to listen to music or to a podcast and I can learn something. And yeah, while I'm not paid enough, I'm getting paid. And that is allowing me to invest in my future without sacrificing or risking the health of my family. And yeah, I'm overworked, but you know what? That's a challenge I accept to learn how to manage my time and to delegate. See, I needed to start seeing the positives in my job. And luckily there was one main one for me, and that was my colleagues. I care deeply about my colleagues and I get along with them very well. In which maybe some of you watching, that's maybe one of the reasons you don't like your job. So you might have to find a different something else that's positive in your job. But for me, it was my colleagues. And so I decided I was going to focus on those relationships. As I've said in the past, I love to teach and to mentor. So I found any opportunity that I could to teach and mentor any of the younger colleagues about the work we do or how to manage projects, how to manage relationships with other colleagues, really anything, professional and personal, that they would allow me to mentor or teach them. And I also searched out opportunities to work on projects that would benefit my colleagues. So a tool or a spreadsheet or anything that would make their lives easier to do their work. And so that more and more started happening as I started seeking that out, and my relationships got stronger with my colleagues. I got to mentor more of them. I got to develop tools that would help them. And so it's hard to understate the difference that this made. I mean, like I said, it wasn't easy. I still have my days. Everyone does. There's always going to be frustrating days. But overall, my attitude has improved and I'm actually much happier. Instead of complaining the entire day, I was now spending part of my days at work doing things that I really enjoyed and that filled me up. Again, I'm far from perfect, but I've come a long, long way because I chose to do so. This does not change my ultimate goal, which is twofold: increase my streams of income, and then increase the amount of that income. So by doing that, I'll be able to break free from the golden handcuffs, spend more quality time with my family, and give them an amazing life that they deserve. That's still the goal. That still hasn't changed. I'm just much happier now in this part of my journey as I go for that goal. So, if you're following me and you relate to my story, you may be in the same situation. You're stuck, you're exhausted, you're frustrated, you feel defeated. I, I know, I felt all those. Believe me, sometimes I still feel some of them. But do me a favor and just try to choose to be more positive. Choose to change the stories you tell yourself and choose not to hate your job. That may be easier for some than for others, but this part of your journey will be much, much better if you choose positivity and happiness. All right. I hope you found this helpful. I really do. This is a really important message that I heard late in my journey, and it's something I wish I heard almost immediately, which is why I decided to kind of cut into the sequence and put this video here. So if you did find it helpful, I'd love it if you choose to give me a thumbs up and put a comment below. All right. Cheers, everybody.